All right, Atlanta United Fan TV. It was a very, very ugly match. Not the way we wanted to start the season. But I think what we can really put as a caveat is, yes, it is only the first game of the season. What did you guys think?
Defensively, I think we made a lot of mistakes that he doesn't really make in the back. Brad Guzan had one mistake, and I just think, I mean, it's just one game, like you said. A long season coming ahead, but, you know, we fixed those defensive issues. I think we'll be okay. Offensively, Almiron had a chance. We had a PK. So we didn't look very, you know, blank as far as
clinical. Yeah.
Technical, we didn't look too, you know, but, you know, it's just the first game. You know, I'm ready for next week to see what they bring against DC United, especially with Assad coming back. You know, that's definitely going to put a little motivation for the guys to beat DC United. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. So
he may have more motivation than the rest of our guys, but I think our guys will probably definitely have motivation to have retribution to make these wrongs right.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
I mean, I agree. Like, I think individual mistakes at the back pretty much cost us. When you concede 4 in the first half, it's very tough to come back. So, you know, it's got to take it in stride. No overreaction like first game of the season. I mean, as I said, in the history, we have never won our first game of the season. So it's defense faltered. I think offensively, Almiron on the left, maybe not the brightest idea out there. So I think overall, as long as the team gels together, I think we got this going forward. So, you know, got to look at the brighter spots, even though they were like far and few in between today. But, you know, got to be positive. Hopefully, we've never beaten DC. They come home, you need a response after that, like going away. And it was very similar to our game against Houston last year. They took their chances. We created early on before the first goal. We created a good chance. They got us on the counter. Had that gone in, different story. Almiron, I don't know if it was 2-0 or 3-0 when he got his chance. So I think if those things had gone our way, and I think once we missed the PK, everyone had their head down. Like, it's one of those things where mentally as a player, it's very tough to come back from them. So, you know, just hopefully it's not a sophomore slump, to be quite honest with you.
I think it's a little too early to get into that, but I think what we can kind of gather is that the lineup today probably was not something that we want to see too often this season. Wow, what did you make of the lineup when you first saw it? And how they played.
Again, Almiron he's got to be in the center of the field. He's the creator. He's the one that creates. Put Gresso on the left, maybe bring Vasquez earlier than he did, and keep Almiron in the middle because he's the one that creates. We need a creator. Gresso, he's a great player, but he plays wing. Almiron is a creator, so I hope he keeps them in there. Understandably, with Barco out, that definitely changes a little bit of the lineup. And maybe it's something to experiment for Tata Martino, but at the same time, you know, we know we cannot go back to that lineup. We got to keep Almiron in the middle.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about the offense, but I think our fragility started with the back. So our midfield and our back line, what did you make of it?
I think Nabig had a good game. McCann, Lawanowic's got to be there. He's the one that does the plays that nobody sees. He does the little things that nobody sees. But, you know, like, again, it was definitely a different experiment that he did, putting him in the back and putting McCann right there in the center. I think we lost the midfield, and Nagby just didn't have any help in the middle for him to create because he's a creator as well with Almiron.
I mean, similar vein, I just think in defense, we need Parkhurst. Like, one of the things I think after the first goal, what some sort of like Parkhurst or some leader out there would have done is like calm the team down, be like, all right, we want to go forward, but we got to keep the back line intact. Yeah. You didn't see that. Yeah. Right after we conceded the goal, we were like, all right, no, we got to go score again. Yeah. And the back line was just in shatters today. I mean, it's one of those things where I hope we can change that up. We talked about this in the season preview that is not signing a defender going to come back and haunt us. So, you know, can't play like this. I think more than anything, a lot of the players, that's not how they played last season. Yeah. That's not what you expect from them. So you need a better defense to begin with. And I think the fourth goal, you can pinpoint that on Guzan, but like by then, like the game was more or less done. So I think individual mistakes again, but more or less, Parkhurst came in and shored up that defense. So personally, a lesson learned. and got to learn these lessons quick and early in the season. You didn't want to see this in a playoff game. Don't want to see this in later on when like the playoff berth might be on the line. So I think first game, it was a shit performance, but you know, we got to just learn and grow from this.
When we posted the season preview, there were a lot of boo birds or people just hating on us when we said, quote, let's go win the treble, right? Which is not saying we're going to win the treble, but let's say, you know, we have the expectations and we can win it if we, you know, put in good performances week in, week out. With this obviously is a big hurdle where, you know, goal difference is a little worse this time now. Do you think that, you know, obviously people are still going to be wondering, oh, are we still feeling the same way? So do you still feel the same way? Can we still, after the first match, still go for trophies?
I mean, of course, like you can't let one game define your season. Like, it's one of those things where I think one game happened. We talked about this in season preview as well. Away from home, our form has, like the one season historically has not been good. So I think we just gotta make sure we don't repeat these mistakes. And I think one of the big things is being pragmatic. Like, we talked about this. People can laugh at teams that decide to not go all out all the time, but like, when you go up against a good team, you got to respect them. And I think Houston are a good team. They were in the playoffs too last year. So, of course, like, we didn't play as well. It wasn't our day. But, of course, like, after a first season where we lost the first game and as a new team, we didn't know what to expect. Right now, of course, we will think that we can still go out there and win trophies because that's what Atlanta United is all about. You know, we have to aim big given what we proved last season. And I think hopefully everyone gives time to this team to gel because that was one of the bigger worries for me, that this team just looked disoriented in the middle. So I think give it time and we'll be fine, hopefully, as long as like Tata Martino makes a couple of changes. Barco coming back in a month. So like, you know, this month is going to be crucial because you need to set the tone right. And yeah, like goal differential is a big deal, but you know, we were smashing teams 4-5-0 last year. So it's one of those things like just keep getting the points. Why do you need the goal differential out there? Like, just win games. So I think the expectation still needs to stay the same. Like, you will see fans on Twitter everywhere overreacting, being like, Assad needs to be back, Carmona needs to be back. Like, just take it in stride. One game, one loss. All right, next game, we'll see what happens against DC.
And I think that is the lesson also is that, yes, Carmona, Assad, they're not going to be back this year. So we shouldn't really even need to talk about it anymore. We need to talk about the players that we do have and how we can actually shore up this defense, because if next week we roll out the same lineup, how do you feel?
I mean, the thing is, I feel about Atlanta United, the first year we were a surprise to a lot of people. We were just an expansion team. People thought they're going to take it easy on us, but we brought it to them. Yeah. Now they know what we're about. Yeah. We're at home. The 12th man, you know, 17 man, we're out there. I mean, if we bring the lineup, I think we'll support it. We'll be back. We'll be yelled. We'll be loud in the stadium. We'll support whatever Tata Martino thinks. I mean, he's a proven manager with Barcelona and Argentina. I mean, there's nothing we can really say. You know, the guy's a genius. One bad game, you know, players do determine a lot of the game, but the coach has a lot to do with the tactical you know, of our team. So, I mean, whatever he puts out there, we're definitely going to support it. I just hope, you know, we look to like strong our back line and our midfield. That way it allows Joseph Martinez and Gresso and Villalaba on the wing to get more freedom out there, because I think they played a lot of defensive out there, just covering for the midfield a lot, because our midfield was really lost, and midfield was trying to help the backs as well. So, I mean, I think whatever lineup he puts out there, we're going to support it. We're going to be 100% back. Atlanta's not going anywhere. It's one game. We're here to win a cup. I mean, that should be our goal, no matter what.
I mean, ultimately, like, the primary thing is every coach has a bad day in the office. Like, it wasn't like Fergie went undefeated all the time. The Peps, the Mourinhos, everyone's had those games. So, you know, we can sit here, micro manage this entire situation and be like, oh, this player needs to do this, that. Like, you know, I'm going to trust the manager. Ultimately, I think he gave us a wonderful first season. And I I think the biggest worry right now would be not having a plan B, where, you know, sometimes when things don't go your way, you need something more, and I think today that was missing. But, you know, going forward, like, if you're 1-0 down, first 5 minutes, chill down. Like, you know, you got 85 minutes to go instead of trying to, like, come back in the next 5 minutes. So I think the players will learn from this, and you think like everyone's experienced, everyone has had 1 year in the belt, so well, hopefully Atlanta United does well. I mean, that's pretty much going to be the case, and I think Tata Martino is going to get it right. And the only thing I'm hoping is Almiron back in the middle. When Almiron Martinez are on fire, the team's on fire. Like, you know, it's one of those things when those two go off, no stopping them. So,
and was it because maybe how bad we looked in preseason and how not clinical we were in the competitive matches against MLS competition? Is that something that's kind of just like hung over into the season, where it's just like, yeah, we didn't have that success putting it in the back of the net, so, you know, going into the season, the confidence isn't there, right?
I mean, sure, we can say that, but at the same time, like, if we come good next week, like, you know, everyone's going to forget about this game. So I think all we really need is a reaction from Atlanta United next week. The home fans are going to be there. 75,000 people are going to be there. So let's just go in and put in a shift so that everyone forgets about this. I think that's the most important part. And more or less, 4-0 happened. What can we do about it? Like, you know, now think about the next game, DC next week. Let's go pay attention, get the result out there. So I think overall, if the fans are angry today, you'd understand why they're angry.
Yeah.
And because of that anger, you'd see a lot of stuff. But, you know, if they come back with next week, everyone's going to forget about it. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much what needs to happen, where as a team just gather together, come back. And as far as the preseason and the clinical part goes, I think you got to – I don't remember Martinez having a one-on-one with the keeper except for the offside.
Yeah, except for the Nashville game,
yeah.
And that's just an anomaly because that was a back pass that died in the box.
So I think ultimately it's going to basically be get Martinez back. His confidence has to be back. Almiron's confidence back. And I think that's pretty much it. As long as that happens, we'll be okay.
So our old friend, Yamil Assad, what do we think the reception is going to be next week?
A little bit of respect, a lot of disrespect, I think, myself. I mean, the player, you know, they have a motive. Either they're playing for the club or they're playing for money. And at the end of the day, you got to respect their decision, but that doesn't mean I got to like them. So I just can't wait for the reception to come back. So
I mean, everyone is going to have their own opinion, but like we should not do stuff against Yamil Assad. I think he wanted to stay. It was his parent club that pulled off the nonsense. So, you know, we could look at it both ways. I just hope he gets a good reception. Still a very integral part of the first season. So, you know, the only thing is I hope the players don't get too cozy with him. Got to still beat him, then be friends with him after and before, but not during the game. Right? If there's a hard tackle to be made, make a hard tackle. So, you know, that's primarily it. And I think for the fans, I think they might give him a standing ovation first couple of minutes. But after that, game on, you're just another player who's come to play against us, and we're not going to give you the cheering that we did last year. So
love loss, but yeah, respect him afterwards.
Yeah, like, you know, it's one of those things where you're not going to respect him during the game because, you know, he played for the other team. But if he gets taken off, if he's getting put on, the fans will, of course, rise and clap to that. But other than that, I think no, there won't be much disrespect given to him. I hope not. But if there are, like, what are we going to do? Like, you know, it's just I am more worried, to be quite honest, about the result next week than the reception Assad's going to get because we got to start with, like, at least one win, one loss would be a lot better than two losses or a draw or a loss. So, you know, I think bouncing back has to be in the first thing for every fan. And I think if that's the reason they say stuff about Assad, like, it is what it is. But he was still the first goal scorer for us. So, you know, never going to forget that moment at Bobby Dodd. So